Hello everyone and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I have a super easy and delicious dessert recipe that's going to be perfect for fall and winter. I'll be making my cranberry orange bakery style scones, and these are just the best scones you're ever gonna have. They are super fluffy, flaky, buttery, and packed with so much incredible flavor. I like to start things off with the dry ingredients, fold together the butter and the flour, and then fold in fresh cranberries, dried cranberries, lots of orange zest, and I like to finish these off with a really simple orange glaze at the end just to take the scones up a notch. These are so great for breakfast, for brunch, or as an afternoon snack with your coffee and tea. For the full list of ingredients and the printable instructions, head on down into that video description box and follow the link over to my website. I'm going to have everything online there for you. Meanwhile, let's get started. These are just to die for. Into my food processor, I'm going to add 2 cups of all-purpose flour, along with a 1/4 cup of white granulated sugar, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And we'll need 1/2 cup of unsalted butter. I like to cube mine into little pieces and then place it into the freezer for about 15 minutes. Drop in the butter, oops. And then we're going to pulse this until the flour and the butter form a crumbly mixture. This first step of the recipe can be done a couple different ways. Of course, the food processor is the easiest way. If you don't have one of these, you can also use a cheese grater. Just grate the cold butter into a bowl with the dry ingredients, or you can use a pastry blender. Essentially, you just want little chunks of butter combined with the flour. In a separate mixing bowl, combine 1/2 cup of sour cream, a 1/4 cup of heavy cream, 1 egg plus 1 egg yolk, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 1 teaspoon of orange extract, or you can also use a 1/4 teaspoon of orange oil. Then whisk this all together until the eggs are well beaten and you have a uniform mixture. And for maximum orange flavor, I'm going to add the zest of 2 large oranges into the wet ingredients. This way the zest is going to be uniformly distributed throughout the scone batter. I'll start to gradually add in this flour and butter mixture. We'll whisking it up first. It's going to form this nice thick batter. Add in the rest of this mixture. And then mix this all together. And now for my cranberries, we're going to need 1.5 cups of fresh cranberries. As I'm filming this, they're still not in season, so I just pulled these out of my freezer and I let them thaw. You don't want to use frozen cranberries in this recipe. And we're going to need 1/2 cup of dried cranberries. I just love this combination. The fresh with the dried adds lots of incredible flavor. Drop these into the batter. And then fold these in. I want to be gentle. I've lined my work surface with a few sheets of plastic wrap. I'm going to drop this batter onto the plastic. It's going to be really sticky at this point. Press this batter down, kind of form it into a disc. Wrap it with the plastic. And my scone dough is off to the refrigerator. It needs to chill for about an hour, hour and a half until the dough is nicely firmed, and it's going to be much easier to work with once it's chilled. You can also let this sit in the refrigerator overnight if you want to have some freshly baked scones in the morning. There's one of my favorite things to have on a weekend morning. My dough is chilled. I'm going to flour my work surface generously. I'm going to unwrap the dough. And you can see once it's chilled, it's much firmer and it'll be much easier to handle. Sprinkle a little bit more flour over the surface. All right, then we're gonna split this into 8 pieces. You can use a knife or a little spatula like this one. Transfer the scones onto a baking sheet lined with either parchment paper or a silicone mat. I'm going to space them out a little bit. I have my oven preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and these orange cranberry scones are going to bake for about 30 to 35 minutes until they're a rich golden brown color on the top. While these are baking, I'm going to show you how to make a really simple orange glaze that we're going to add on top. We'll start with 1 cup of powdered sugar. Squeeze in some orange juice. It's the same orange that I zested earlier. I also like to add a little bit of orange zest. And then mix this together, adding more orange juice as needed until you have a nice glaze. And then use a spatula to gently lift the scones off the pan and onto a baking sheet. Grab that icing and just kind of drizzle it over the top of the scones. And that's it for my cranberry orange scones recipe. These are going to be so great all season long for fall and winter. I could totally imagine these for Thanksgiving or Christmas breakfast, and the aroma is mouth-watering. For the full list of ingredients and the written instructions, don't forget to head on down into that video description box and then over to my website. I have some tea. My scones have cooled down just a little bit. I actually really like to enjoy them while they're still warm. Just let that glaze set on the top. These look incredible. I love how fluffy they are. These are so incredibly delicious, and the texture is unbeatable. No dry, crumbly scone here. These are extra buttery. They're so soft, moist, dotted with tons of those tart little cranberries. And I love the amount of orange here. It pairs so well with the cranberries. And I love that the scones themselves aren't too sweet. You have a little bit extra sweetness from that glaze. It's gonna be perfect with a cup of coffee or tea. I hope you guys have enjoyed my latest episode. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up and a comment down below. I love to hear from you guys always, and I'll see you next time with a new recipe.